Love triangles. Are they weird or are they kinda great? Welcome back, Nerd Squad. I'm your host, Man McKnight, and this is Top 10 Nerd. Today we'll be counting down the top 10 most famous superhero love triangles. But before we do, you need to check out our newest, biggest channel, Most Amazing Top 10 Anime. We are trying to see how fast we can get to 100,000 subscribers, so head on over and be one of the first. Number 10, Counselor Marth of the Sea, Green Lantern, and Syzn of the Cliffs. This one might be more niche, but my fellow fans of the Far Sector series will know what I'm talking about here. And if that isn't you, have I mentioned how much I love Far Sector and how you should really read it? Far Sector is from the now defunct Young Animals imprint at DC and was a series written by award-winning sci-fi writer N.K. Jemisin with stunning mind-blowing artwork by Jamal Campbell, a dream team if ever there was one. Far Sector centers around a new Green Lantern from Earth, Sojourner Malene. She is sent to an area so distant it is only known as the Far Sector. While working on this alien world, she herself gets caught in a love triangle between the extremely sexy and more emotional Counselor Marth of the Sea and her also extremely sexy but more stoic and controlled ally, Syzn of the Cliffs. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving what you see here at Top 10 Nerd, please go check out our newest channel, Most Amazing Top 10 Anime. Number 9, Splode, Adam Eve, and Invincible. This one is probably made more famous by the animated series Invincible, and actually, based on the Invincible comics, I would say it's not even the most iconic love triangle from the series, the comic series itself, but it is one more people are familiar with based on the fact that more people have definitely watched the Invincible animated series at this point probably than read the comics. At least, I think so. I'd be surprised if that wasn't true. Because for a while, the animated series was pretty mainstream, and hopefully it will become mainstream again in the future when we get our season 2, whenever that drops, whenever that happens. I'm sure it's coming. Splode is the boyfriend of Samantha Wilkins, more commonly known by her superhero name Adam Eve. Eve, however, after meeting Mark, aka Invincible, definitely seems to connect with him and have maybe some feelings for him. When Rex cheats on Eve, she ends up breaking up with him, and while season 1 of the animated series doesn't really cement their relationship as Mark himself has found a girlfriend in Amber, similar to the comic series, the animated series features love triangles on top of love triangles really, and we know eventually Mark and Eve are going to get together because that's just how it goes. Number 8, Fantomex, Psylocke, and Fantomex? This is a really weird one. It involves Fantomex and his female counterpart, who is technically also Fantomex and the once lover of Fantomex, Psylocke. And this is back when Psylocke was a combo of Betsy's mind in Quanen's body, which we later learn also had within it Quanen's consciousness apparently, but just more in the backseat than the driver's seat. Yeah, it's super weird and super complicated and kinda gross. Like most things involving, well, both Fantomex and at least that past version of Psylocke where everything was really weird. At one point, Fantomex was even jealous of his own female self's relationship with Psylocke, which is super weird and confusing, being jealous of yourself. Number 7, Maggie, Sawyer, Batwoman, and Nocturna. Unfortunately, a lot of people know about the weirdness that is this love triangle. While Maggie Sawyer is often known for being the longtime true love of Kate Kane, when these two were right about to get married after being engaged, plans changed for them. Instead, Batwoman ended up with Nocturna for a while and became a kind of vampire, with lines of consent between Nocturna and her being severely crossed. Hence why I say, unfortunately, this is a love triangle that is fairly well known. It was a controversial choice in the comics and a relationship that a lot of people were not fans of because it felt like Kate was kind of being preyed on by Nocturna and had been forced to leave a fulfilling relationship by DC's creative management simply to prevent her queer marriage to Maggie, which a lot of people were like, why did you do that? DC claimed they had their reasons and it didn't have to do with the fact they didn't want Kate to get married to Maggie, but we have our doubts. Number 6, Black Canary, Green Arrow, and Batman. This one is from a previous continuity, and because it's older, not as many people know that it exists, but hey, it does. Green Arrow and Black Canary are definitely more famous for being together than Batman and Black Canary are, even though they also were together in the All-Star reality somewhat as well, which is a thing that happened. But did you know that even in a main continuity story, Black Canary actually considered leaving Ollie for Batman? It's true. At the time, Black Canary was doubting if she really wanted to be with Green Arrow, and at that time, Batman was basically there for her. But ultimately, when push came to shove, and Batman and Green Arrow were kinda like somewhat pitted against one another for Black Canary's affections, more Green Arrow pitted against Batman than the other way around, she decided to stay with her would-be mainstay, Oliver Queen. Number 5. Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Emma Frost. Probably not the most iconic love triangle featuring Jean and Psych, but definitely getting up there in popularity and notoriety is the awkward romance that exists between Jean and Psych and Emma. It's just a big beautiful mess. Jean Grey and Cyclops were married when Cyclops started seeing Emma Frost psychically. What can I say? The man has a thing for psychic mutant ladies. It's kind of his thing. The really weird thing though was that Emma was actually trying to help Cyclops seemingly with kinda like psychic therapy, role-playing as Jean in Cyclops' mind to allow him to feel closer to his wife, who at the time he felt very distant from. Needless to say, being married to an Omega-level telepath like Jean means that eventually, if you have a psychic affair, she's kind of bound to find out, which she did, putting Jean and Emma, who already weren't super friendly as it was, at odds with one another. I still dream of a day when Emma and Jean can join romantic forces themselves and close this love triangle, but I don't know if we're there yet, but maybe one day. Krakoa gives me hope. Number 4. Eddie Brock, Venom, and Anne Weying. Another strange but important love triangle from the comics involves none other than a black ball of alien goo named Venom. Because, of course it does. Not only is Venom considered to be one of the most popular characters over at Marvel, but the alien being is also known for being somehow one of the sexiest characters around too, if you can believe that. People just, I don't know, they really love symbiotes. It's just a whole thing. You know who also loves Venom? Eddie. And Eddie was once married to Anne, continuing to love her and pine after her even after they were separated, with Venom even bonding to Anne at one point to create She-Venom. In fact, Anne and Eddie's secret child, Dylan, even was considered to be somewhat of a genetic offspring of all three of them, with Venom, now bonded to Dylan, even sometimes acting in a caregiver or parental role. Number 3. Hawkman, Hawkgirl, and Green Lantern. Hawkman and Hawkgirl are known for being a strong superhero powerhouse couple usually, but they aren't the only two who are shipped together. Hawkgirl and Green Lantern John Stewart have also been known for having a deep connection to one another. When we take a look over at the dceu, these two are not only known for being good friends and colleagues, but also at one point even ending up together, and are definitely maintained as having a sort of will they won't they style dramatic relationship in the animated universe. In an alternate future, John and Shiera even likely have a son together. That's what we're led to believe, and their son is known as Warhawk. However, Hawkgirl and Hawkman are generally also known for being together at DC because it is believed that they are both reincarnations of former Thanagarian lovers, so that kind of just ties them together throughout all time. Number 2. MJ, Spider-Man, and Black Cat. Another super popular one as we head back to the Marvel side of things is Mary Jane, Spider-Man, and Black Cat. It might even be the reason that you clicked on this list. MJ and Peter have come a long way in the comics, from family friends to schoolmates to close friends to lovers to husband and wife, and then kind of just back to friends again before once more returning to more than that, only to seemingly be split up once more. So it's been a tumultuous ride. Even their marriage wasn't smooth sailing, with most of it involving one or both of them wondering if being together was really the right choice for them. Black Cat, however, has been with Spider-Man for a time, but was more interested in the vigilante hero side of him than, you know, the man behind the mask, which meant that the two could never really end up together long term, because Black Cat was more interested in a persona than she was in, you know, Peter himself. When it comes to Felicia and Mary Jane, these two women for years were known for being pretty much at each other's throats, especially in regard to Felicia's feelings about MJ. However, more recently in the main continuity, the two teamed up together to do a heist in order to protect Peter against an enemy of Black Cat's. And in the Marvel mangaverse, Black Cat even saved MJ's life with a kiss. Number 1. Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Cyclops. Probably one of the most iconic love triangles around, at least in my opinion, is the one between Wolverine, Jean, and Psych. While not a traditional love triangle in the sense that, you know, it isn't specifically closed, with Cyclops and Wolverine not explicitly having a romance between them, even this love triangle has become closer in years to that model of a closed one, especially with everything going on Krakoa. And you know, Psyche and Wolverine sometimes holding hands in the comics. Just saying, there's some implications. A closed love triangle with a few branches coming off of it, at least. Wolverine definitely has other people he loves, as does Psyche, but for the most part, Jean is pretty much stuck between these two heroes and fellow teammates. Although at one point back in the day, it seemed as though Angel actually may have had a chance with Jean. That didn't really end up going anywhere, but Angel was, I mean, everyone was really hot for Jean back then. The Professor also. Oh boy. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. I'll see you next time, but until then, you stay nerdy, YouTube.